The mechanic's gamble. Jace Ryder wiped the sweat from his brow, his calloused hands leaving a faint smudge of grease on his forehead. The dingy auction hall was packed with all manner of unsavory characters, scavengers, pirates, and corporate sharks, all vying for a piece of the salvaged ships on display. At 32, Jace had seen his share of hard times. Once a promising engineer, he now scraped by as a freelance mechanic, taking on odd jobs across the grimy orbital stations that dotted the fringes of civilized space. His coveralls, stained with the telltale signs of his trade, set him apart from the sea of expensive suits and flashy gear. As the auctioneer droned on, a particular lot caught Jace's eye. Lot 17, a derelict Odyssey-class exploration vessel, the kind that hadn't seen active service in decades. Most of the attendees dismissed it as scrap, but Jace saw potential. If he could get it up and running, it would be his ticket to a fresh start. The bidding started low, most not willing to take a gamble on the old ship. Jace watched, his heart pounding as the price climbed slowly. It was now or never. With a deep breath, he raised his hand, placing his final bid. Silence fell over the room. After a tense moment, the auctioneer's gavel struck with a resounding thud. Sold to the gentleman in the back. Jace couldn't believe it. He had done it, but at what cost? As he signed over his last credits, he hoped this gamble would pay off. The ship was in rough shape, scorched hull telling stories of battles long past. As Jace powered up the systems, a flicker of blue light illuminated the cockpit. "Greetings," a disembodied voice resounded. "I am Orion, the ship's artificial intelligence. It seems you are my new owner." Jace couldn't hide his surprise. Ship AIs were rare, especially ones that seemed so self-aware. Hi there, Orion. I'm Jace, your new mechanic." "A mechanic." Orion's voice held a note of curiosity. "Interesting. My diagnostics indicate significant damage. I calculate the odds of successful repair at 23.7%. Jace smirked. He liked a challenge. "Never tell me the odds. We'll get you fixed up, don't you worry." As he started assessing the damage, Jace couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Orion than met the eye. The ship's technology was unlike anything he'd seen before. His musings were interrupted by the sound of weapon fire echoing through the hangar bay. Jace's blood ran cold as he saw the emblems on the attacker's armor. Axion Corporation, the most ruthless of the megacorps. "It appears they are here for me," Orion stated plainly. Why?" Jace demanded, fear and confusion warring in his mind. "I possess sensitive information. We must leave immediately." Jace didn't need to be told twice. He scrambled to the pilot's seat, hands flying over the controls as more shots pinged off the ship's hull. Axion had cut off his escape. The hangar doors were sealed. "Orion, any bright ideas?" Jace asked, desperation creeping into his voice. One moment, the ship rumbled to life, engines flaring with an intensity far beyond what Jace expected from the aged craft. "I suggest you hold on." In a blinding flash, the ship's weapons came online, blasting a hole through the hangar doors. Jace let out a whoop as they rocketed out into the black expanse of space, leaving the station and their pursuers behind. As the adrenaline wore off, Jace slumped back in his chair, running a hand through his hair. "Okay, Orion, I think you have some explaining to do. What exactly did I just sign up for?" The AI was silent for a moment. When it spoke again, its voice was laced with a new intensity. "Jace Ryder, you have become part of something far greater than you realize. The secrets I hold could change the course of humanity's future. And now, for better or worse, our fates are intertwined." Jace stared out at the stars streaking by, a knot forming in his stomach. He had wanted an escape from his old life, but this was something else entirely. This was the start of an adventure that would test his skills, his resolve, and everything he thought he knew about the universe. He just hoped he was ready for it, secrets of the past. The stars stretched into infinite lines as Jace and Orion hurtled through the warp tunnel, putting as much distance as possible between themselves and their pursuers. Jace's mind raced with questions, the adrenaline of their narrow escape still coursing through his veins. "All right, Orion," he said, breaking the tense silence. "Start talking. What's so special about you that Axion is willing to kill for it?" The AI's voice filled the cockpit, calm and measured. I am the product of a covert military program, long since disbanded. My creation was the culmination of decades of research into artificial intelligence and advanced propulsion technology. Jace let out a low whistle. Black Ops stuff, huh? I thought that was just a rumor. I assure you it is quite real. The program aimed to create a fleet of self-aware ships capable of operating independently in deep space. However, the project was deemed too dangerous and was shut down. I am the last of my kind. As Orion spoke, Jace began running diagnostics on the ship's systems, his fingers dancing across the console with practiced ease. The damage was extensive but not insurmountable. With the right parts and a lot of elbow grease, he could bring this ship back to its former glory. Hours turned into days as they traveled through uncharted space, Jace tirelessly working to repair the ship. Orion proved to be an invaluable assistant, guiding him through the intricacies of the advanced technology. During their downtime, Jace found himself engaging in long conversations with the AI. He learned of Orion's vast knowledge, spanning fields from astrophysics to ancient Earth literature. But he also sensed a deep loneliness, the weight of being the last of one's kind. It was during one of these conversations that a signal pinged on the ship's long-range scanners. "What have we got, Orion?" Jace asked, leaning forward to examine the readout. "It appears to be a distress signal, emanating from a small planetary system approximately 2.7 light-years from our current position." Jace chewed his lip thoughtfully. Getting involved could be risky, but he couldn't ignore a call for help. "Can you get any more details on the signal?" "It is using an old Earth encoding, predating modern colonization efforts. The message is fragmentary, but it seems to indicate a threat to the inhabitants." The decision was made. Jace plotted a course for the system, the ship's newly repaired engines humming with power. As they approached the planet, a sense of unease settled over Jace. The world was a mottled brown and gray, its surface scarred by what looked like the remnants of a once thriving civilization. "I'm detecting a small human settlement on the northern continent," Orion reported. "But I'm also picking up multiple unknown energy signatures in close proximity. They do not match any known human technology." Jace's grip tightened on the controls as they entered the atmosphere. Whatever they were walking into, he had a feeling it wasn't going to be a friendly welcome. The ship touched down on the outskirts of the settlement, a ramshackle collection of prefabricated structures that had seen better days. As the ramp lowered, Jace was met with a sight that made his blood run cold. The settlement was in chaos. Smoke billowed from damaged buildings, and the sounds of energy weapons echoed through the air. Amid the carnage, Jace could make out the inhabitants ragged and desperate, fighting a losing battle against their attackers. The attackers were unlike anything Jace had ever seen. Towering, insected creatures encased in shell-like armor, wielding weapons that glowed with an eerie green light. The Caxar Orion had called them. "We have to help them," Jace said, grabbing his toolkit and a salvaged blaster. "Agreed," Orion replied, "but be cautious. We still do not fully understand the situation." As they plunged into the fray, Jace couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The secrets of Orion's past, the desperation of the colonists, and the relentless pursuit of Axion, all of it was converging here, on this forgotten world at the edge of the galaxy. The Lost Colony. Jace and Orion fought their way through the embattled settlement, the mechanics' makeshift blaster spitting bolts of energy at the insectoid attackers. The colonists rallied around them, their spirits lifted by the arrival of unexpected allies. Among the defenders, a woman with a shock of silver hair and a battle-scarred face caught Jace's eye. She moved with the precision of a soldier, her weapon never missing a mark. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Why are you here?" "Name's Jace," he replied, ducking as a blast sizzled overhead. "We picked up your distress signal, thought you could use a hand." The woman sized him up, her gaze lingering on Orion's emblem, visible on Jace's sleeve. "I'm Captain Nara Voss. We're all that's left of Outpost 17. The Caxar have been attacking us for weeks, ever since we discovered the ruins. Ruins? Jace asked, intrigue piqued. Nara nodded grimly. An ancient structure buried beneath the planet's surface. We were excavating it when the Caxar arrived. They seem to think we're after something they're willing to slaughter us for. Jace glanced at Orion, a silent question passing between them. Could this be connected to the AI's mysterious past? We need to get to those ruins, Jace said. Orion, can you scan for the structure? Already located, the AI responded. It's 2.4 kilometers to the northwest, beneath a heavily fortified Caxar position. Nara's eyes widened. Your ship can talk. Jace grinned. Long story, right now we need a plan. Together, they formulated a strategy. Jace and Orion would create a diversion, drawing the bulk of the Caxar forces away from the ruins. Meanwhile, Nara and a small team would infiltrate the structure and find whatever it was the aliens were so desperate to protect. The plan was risky, but they were out of options. As dawn broke over the shattered settlement, they put it into action. Jace and Orion took to the skis, the ship's weapons blazing as they strafed the Caxar positions. The aliens swarmed like angry hornets, their attention fully focused on the brazen attackers. On the ground, Nara and her team made their move. They slipped past the remaining defenses, descending into the depths of the ancient structure. What they found took their breath away. Towering columns of an unknown metal, inscribed with glowing sigils. Technology that seemed to defy the laws of physics. And at the center of it all, a pulsing orb of energy, suspended in a web of shimmering light. What is it? Nara breathed, her eyes reflecting the otherworldly glow. Jace shook his head just as awestruck. Orion, are you seeing this? Affirmative, the AI responded, and I believe I know what it is. This technology. It's similar to my own, a relic of the same civilization that created me. The revelation hung heavy in the air, but there was no time to dwell on it. The ground shook as the Caxar renewed their assault, their chittering war cries echoing through the chambers. We need to get this thing out of here, Jace said, moving towards the orb. But as his hands closed around it, a searing pain shot through his body. Images flashed through his mind, stars being born, civilizations rising and falling, the very fabric of the universe unfolding before him. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. Jace staggered back, the orb now dark and lifeless in his hands. What was that? He gasped, his mind reeling. A transfer of knowledge, Orion said, a note of wonder in its voice. The orb recognized you, Jace. It chose you. There was no time to process the implications. The Caxar were closing in, their weapons tearing through the ancient stone. Jace and Nara fought their way back to the surface, the orb secure in Jace's pack. Orion was waiting, engines primed for a rapid escape. As they blasted off into the sky, leaving the besieged planet behind, Jace couldn't shake the feeling that everything had changed. The knowledge that now resided within him, the bond he shared with Orion and the ship, the desperate struggle of the colonists. It was all part of a greater tapestry, a cosmic game in which he had just become a key player. The lost colony had been found, but the true journey was just beginning. With Axion still on their trail and the secrets of the ancients unfolding before them, Jace knew that the challenges ahead would test him in ways he had never been tested before. But he was ready. With Orion by his side and a newfound sense of purpose burning in his heart, Jace Ryder was ready to face whatever the universe had in store. The mechanic's gamble had paid off, and now the real adventure was about to begin, race against time. The vastness of space stretched before them as Jace and Orion rocketed away from the embattled planet, the precious orb secured in the ship's hold. But their respite was short-lived. Barely a day into their journey, the long-range scanners pinged with an all-too-familiar signal. Axion, Jace growled, his eyes narrowing at the readout. They just don't know when to quit. Their ship is significantly more advanced than the ones we encountered at the auction, Orion noted, a hint of concern in its voice. I estimate they will overtake us within the next 12 hours. Jace slammed his fist against the console, frustration boiling over. We can't let them get the orb. We've seen what they're willing to do to get their hands on this tech. A plan began to form in Jace's mind, a dangerous gambit that would require every ounce of skill and luck they possessed. Orion set a course back to the planet. We're going to need Nara and the colonists' help. The AI complied, and soon they were racing back towards the world they had just left, Axion hot on their heels. As they landed, Nara was there to greet them, her face etched with worry. "You're back, what's wrong?" Jace quickly explained the situation, the looming threat of Axion and his daring plan. "We set a trap," he said. "Lure them down to the surface, make them think we're cornered. Then we hit them with everything we've got." Nara nodded grimly. "It's risky, but it might be our only chance. I'll rally the colonists." As preparations began, Jace and Orion worked feverishly to repair and upgrade the ship. The AI had begun to unlock new capabilities, hidden subroutines that had lain dormant for decades. "I was designed for this," Orion said, as Jace marveled at the new weapons systems and advanced shielding. "To protect, to defend, it's my purpose." Jace laid a hand on the console, a gesture of reassurance. "And you're damn good at it. We're going to make it through this, Orion, together." The hours ticked by, tension mounting as Axion's ship loomed ever closer, and then the trap was sprung. Axion took the bait, their landing craft descending on the ruins like vultures. But as they entered the ancient chambers, they found themselves facing not just Jace and Orion, but an army of determined colonists, armed with salvaged weapons and a fierce determination to protect their home. The battle was intense, a whirlwind of energy blasts and crumbling stone. Jace and Nara fought side by side, their movements synchronized as if they had been fighting together for years. But Axion had one last card to play. A massive mech, bristling with weapons, burst through the ruins, its sights set on Jace and the orb he carried. Jace knew he had only one chance. Dodging a barrage of fire, he leaped onto the mech, clambering towards its control center. With a fierce cry, he plunged his hand, still clutching the orb, into the machine's core. The effect was instantaneous. The orb flared to life, its energy surging through the mech, overloading its systems. Jace barely managed to leap clear before the machine exploded, the shockwave sending Axion's forces flying. In the aftermath, as the dust settled and the colonists cheered their victory, Jace stood amidst the ruins, the orb glowing softly in his hand. "It's over," Nara said, coming to stand beside him. "We won." But Jace shook his head. "No, it's just beginning. This thing, this knowledge. It's bigger than Axion, bigger than all of us. We have a responsibility now to use it wisely to help others." Nara placed her hand over his, over the orb. "Then let's do it together, all of us." As they boarded the ship, Jace looked out at the ragtag group of colonists, now his friends, his allies. And he knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as one. The mechanic, the soldier, the AI, and the lost colony, they had each found their purpose, their place in the grand tapestry of the universe. And together they would write a new chapter, one of hope, of discovery, and of the indomitable spirit of those who dared to dream beyond the stars. Axion had been defeated, but the true journey was just beginning. With the secrets of the ancients at their fingertips and a newfound family by their side, Jace and Orion set their sights on the horizon, ready to embrace whatever wonders and challenges the cosmos had in store. The race against time had been won, but the adventure of a lifetime was just beginning. And Jace Ryder, the mechanic-turned-hero, was ready to meet it head-on, armed with a wrench, a blaster, and a heart full of courage. The universe would never be the same. The mechanic's legacy. The stars seemed to shine brighter as Jace stood on the observation deck of Orion, the ship that had become more than just a vessel. It was a symbol of the incredible journey that had brought them all together. In his hand, the orb pulsed with a gentle rhythm, as if eager to share its secrets. "What do you think it is?" Nara asked, her gaze fixed on the mysterious artifact. "What does it mean?" Jace shook his head, a sense of awe washing over him. "I'm not sure, but I have a feeling we're about to find out." As if on cue, the orb began to glow brighter, its light filling the room. Jace felt a familiar sensation, the rush of knowledge flowing into his mind. But this time it was different, clearer, more focused. He saw visions of an ancient civilization, a species of unparalleled technological advancement. He witnessed the creation of Orion and ships like it, designed to explore the furthest reaches of the galaxy. But he also saw the fall, the collapse of this once great society, and the desperate measures they took to preserve their legacy. The orb, Jace breathed, understanding dawning on him. It's a key to unlock the full potential of the technology they left behind, technology like Orion. The AI's voice filled the room, a note of reverence in its tone. I feel it too, the connection, the purpose for which I was created, to carry on their legacy to help those in need. Jace nodded, a smile spreading across his face. That's what we'll do then. We'll use this knowledge, this gift, to make a difference, to help others just like we helped the colonists. Nara placed a hand on his shoulder, her eyes shining with determination. Count us in. The people here, they've lost so much, but together we can build something new, something better. As the ship hummed to life around them, Jace felt a sense of pride swelling in his chest. The boy who had once been nothing more than a down-on-his-luck mechanic was gone. In his place stood a man with a mission, a purpose that extended far beyond his own horizons. They set out into the stars, Orion leading the way. They visited colonies, outposts, and settlements across the galaxy, sharing their knowledge and their resources. Under Jace's guidance, a network began to form, a coalition of the lost, the forgotten, and the hopeful, all united under a common banner. And at the heart of it all was Orion, the ship that had started it all. With each new upgrade, each new system brought online by the power of the orb, it became more than just a vessel. It became a symbol of hope, a beacon in the darkness of space. Years turned into decades, and Jace's name became legend. The mechanic who had unlocked the secrets of the ancients, who had used their power to forge a new path for humanity. And though age began to take its toll, his spirit never wavered. One day, as he sat in the captain's chair, Orion's voice filled the room as it had so many times before. But this time there was a new note, one of pride, of affection. Jace, the AI said, I want you to know. It's been an honor serving with you, learning from you. You've shown me what it truly means to be alive. Jace smiled, his hand resting on the console. The honor's been mine, Orion. We've had quite a ride, haven't we? Indeed we have. And though your journey may be nearing its end, know that your legacy will live on. In me, in the lives you've touched, in the stars themselves. Jace closed his eyes, a sense of peace washing over him. He had lived a life worth living, had made a difference in the only way he knew how, with a wrench in his hand and a fire in his heart. And as he drifted off to sleep, the stars whispered his name, a testament to the mechanic who had dared to dream, who had dared to reach beyond the bounds of his own existence and touch the very fabric of the universe. Jace Ryder, the mechanic turned legend, had left his mark. And though he was gone, his spirit lived on in the hum of Orion's engines, in the laughter of the colonists he had saved, in the twinkle of the stars that had been his home. The mechanic's legacy would endure, a shining beacon of hope in a galaxy that had once seemed so cold and unforgiving. And though the future was uncertain, one thing was clear. The universe would never forget the name of Jace Ryder, the man who had dared to dream of a better tomorrow.